Now, expectations were high before that
Hello?
national address, the fourth since the start of the coronavirus crisis. About half the country was watching, and what they wanted to know was how much longer this would go on for, whether or not to wear masks, etc. They had many questions. Do you think that Macron managed to strike the right tone and give clear explanations as to why 4 more weeks of lockdown are needed?
On the tonality of Macron, I think that the speech was marked by a tone of humility. Macron gave responses, some explanation, and particularly he admitted several times there had been failings in dealing with the pandemic, and particularly the lack of masks, the lack of equipment. So on that side, Macron found finally the good tonality, which is humility. On the other aspect, which is to give to the French very precise answers. We've got one precise answer, which is the deadline of the 11th of May. We will be still locked down till the 11th of May. But there are many question marks without response on today, particularly the question of reopening the schools, infant school, primary school, secondary schools, and we have plenty of questions. He said that we would be ready, but since this morning, there are many questions asked by teachers and also by the parents about the security, the safety of the children if they get back on school by the 11th of May.
Indeed. Now, another thing the president said was, il va falloir se réinventer. We're going to have to reinvent ourselves. And he said he would have to do that. What did you make of that particular comment? What do you think Macron was saying about his leadership through this crisis?
It's true that that small sentence is probably one of the main sentences of the Emmanuel Macron discourse on yesterday. You know that since the Yellow Vest crisis, Macron tried to find the new Macron. He said several times that they will take a new direction, that there will be a second step in the mandate, but still we are expecting exactly to know what exactly is the new Emmanuel Macron. It is certainly the case that Emmanuel Macron at the end of the crisis is going to communicate that the crisis has made him as a different person, as a different president. It's not obvious, it's not easy to convince the electorate that you change who you are when you are the executive.
It's interesting you should say electorate because, of course, the first round of local elections was held not that long ago, and the government has been criticised for that. Do you think Macron has regrets about that, or maybe should have mentioned that in the speech?
We know on today that organizing the first round of the local election was a mistake. It's very obvious that it was a mistake, not only for the safety and the health aspect, but also a political mistake. We don't know when it's going to be the second round of that local election. I would say that probably Macron regrets that.
Now, Macron didn't just talk about France. It is interesting to note. He talked about Europe, and Europe, of course, is very important for this particular president, and his mission is to make Europe stronger. Do you think, though, that this crisis has created deeper divisions? I mean, we have seen some tensions over solidarity measures.
Yes, I would say it's always the same story with Europe. Europe makes advancement and new steps through crisis. So certainly it will be the case that after the crisis there will be some new direction, particularly in harmonizing or coordinating in a much better way the way that we organize the safety of the European continent or the European Union. At the same time, I think it's quite a long run. Emmanuel Macron, since the beginning actually of Macron mandate, tried to convince the French and the other Europeans that there is no contradiction between national sovereignty and the European sovereignty. He frequently mentioned the European sovereignty. The crisis has shown also some negative signs on the side of Europe, which is a lack of coordination, lack of common response to the crisis. And I'm pretty sure that Emmanuel Macron, after the crisis, would like to restart to deliver the message that we should go further.